pursuit of happiness. That happiness is something that we are all in pursuit of. Okay, what else did we discuss last time? Very important thing that we discussed last time. Remember? Difference between humans and animals. Yes. Different commonalities and differences between human and animals. Right? So, how are we special? We are special because we have the ability to make higher inquiry. We have, we can make choices, right? So that's what makes us special. And that's the reason we're supposed to live our life in a more appropriate manner, because we don't act by instinct, which animals do, right? Okay, so as we discussed, the goal of happiness, the goal of life, is happiness, right? Today we'll dwell a little further or a little deeper into it, right? So happiness, we know, is the goal, but happiness is also two kinds, right? One is relative happiness, and the second is real happiness. Okay, now what is real happiness and what is relative happiness? So real happiness is something which is permanent. It doesn't change. Aya gaya waisa nahi. It's ever increasing. It keeps increasing with time, right? And then it can be shared with loved ones. And there is a variety in it. If all these four are absent, if this is not present, then it is relative happiness. Okay? Now, happiness is something that we all want, but can we always be happy? Can we have fun all the time? Possible? No, we can't. What stops us from being happy? Anyone?
Sorrow.
Sorrow, yes, or problems. Problems give us sorrow. So problems stop us from being happy. Now, we said two kinds of happiness, relative and real. Now, relative happiness can be got if we solve the relative problems of life. And real happiness can be got by solving the real problems of life. Now, you all may think, kya bol raha hai, relative, real, dimag ka dahi ho raha hai. You think it's a lot of jargon, but I'll simplify it. So what I essentially mean is that relative problem is that problem which is one man's food is another man's poison. That is a relative problem. Now, let me give you an example. I go to a dentist. I have a terrible toothache. I'm in pain. That's my problem, right? But for the day, right? So he's happy. So problem in all my teeth also is fine with him. He's not getting pained, right? So that's the reason relative problems are the ones that are individualistic. And one man's meat is another man's poison. Let's take another example. A rich man and a hill station. So rich man's dream is what? To have this luxurious house in an hill station facing the hills, right? But for the poor man, that's who lives in that hill station, for him, over there, he is jobless. He doesn't have adequate facilities. So for him, it's a problem staying there. He wants to go to a big town where there is adequate water, electricity, good roads, so on and so forth. He's seen enough of greenery. It doesn't excite him. So that's another difference, relative problem. For one, it's a problem. For another, it is not. Let's take another third example. When it rains heavily, and you have people who are sitting on the roads and selling vegetables, for them, it's a pain. No customer only comes. Who will come in the rain, when it's pouring heavily? But for the shop selling umbrellas, rain is the blessing, because they want it to rain, only then will someone come and buy umbrellas. So again, relative problem for one can be an opportunity for another. Right or wrong? So now tell me, what are the kind of problems you all face? Let's see. Come on, unmute, tell me, what are the problems you all face? Sarang, welcome. Tell me. Put on your cameras, it'll be nice. Arushi, what do you think? What are your problems? What are the problems you face currently? Exams. Exams. Oh. So that's again for your parents. Is that a problem? No, they've already been through that. Right? Or maybe an elder sibling. For them, it's a problem. No, they've been through that. For your teacher, is it a problem? No. So that's a relative problem. Anything else you'll face? Any other problems? Anything. So it could be anything, for example, if I'm unwell, that's my problem. If I have less of some resource, that's my problem. It's again relative. So one good thing now you understand is that most of the problems are relative. Right? Now let's understand the second aspect. What are real problems? Anyone wants to take a guess? What are real problems? They have three characteristics. Okay, I'll give you that if you want. Then you tell me. First characteristic is it is common to all. That problem is common to all. Second characteristic is no one wants it only. And the third characteristic is no one can avoid it. Common to all, no one wants it, no one can avoid it. What could be such a problem?
Stress.
Sorry?
Stress.
Stress.
Prabhu, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi.
Jana Mrityu Viraj. Very good. Who said that?
Chinmay.
Okay, Chinmay. Yes, so the real problems are the ones birth, death, old age, disease. We'll take it one by one. Okay? Now, birth. I always wonder. Every birthday, we sing happy birthday. We're cutting a cake. Why is birth a problem? It's a celebration. But please understand, birth is a problem. Firstly, because no one can avoid it. Even if you want it or no, it's there. Right? And it's common to all. Everybody is born here. That's why we're here. Now, why is it a problem? Because there is pain in it throughout. Now, that is why, have you heard the term labor pain? Right? The mother goes through so much of pain. And not only that, the child who's inside the womb. Imagine if you were shut in a room for 9 months. Now, for example, in Corona, you all had that example, right? Everybody was locked in their houses. You're not allowed to go out. But still, you were in a house. And you could move from one room to another, talk to someone. Here, you're in a particular compartment, literally, and cramped, dark. Now, in addition to that, when the mother eats anything spicy, it hurts the skin of the child, right? Again, you're breathing in the same, you're urinating in the same, so it's dirt all around. It's terrible. The Shastras describe that when the child is in the womb, he's praying to the Lord. Baba, please, meko nikalo idhar se. I don't want to be in this position. I promise I'll remember you. I promise I'll do everything it takes to come back to you. We do that. The scriptures mention that. But as soon as we get out, and then everybody's, oh my God, my little baby, and what do you want? And you want this, you want that, you get everything. And then you forget the real problem. But birth is a real problem, right? It's something that you cannot avoid, and it's painful. Now, the second, old age. What is old age? Anyone? What is old age? Yes, Sarang, go ahead. Unmute and tell me. Yes.
Like after a certain time, when the person starts to feel like is not able to move properly or is starting to get old.
Yes, so physically your body starts to kind of disintegrate. Secondly, there's proximity to death, right? And generally old age is very painful because not only physically, emotionally also, right? Nobody wants to be near old people. Nobody wants to talk to them. They're left on their own most of the time. I'll tell you a story. Okay. Once, there was this young man who had got married. He had his children, and he had his father who stayed with him. His mother had passed away. at some point of time, he realized that, he started finding it difficult to take care of his father. And he said, Father, I think you should go to an old age home. And poor man, old man, couldn't say much. So his son was taking him to the old age home. Now, it was a drive away, about 80, 100 kilometers. Generally, old age homes are out of the city. So he was taking him, and his father said, I'm a little thirsty. And then they stopped by a park, and he went to the shop to buy a juice. And when he came back, he saw his father was in tears. He was crying. And then he started telling his father, hey, Baba, don't start all this. I love you, but I have to leave you, this, that. So, try and get over it. So the father just told him, son, I'm not crying because you're leaving me at an old age home. I'm crying because I'm remembering that exactly 30 years ago, this is the same place where I had stopped. And this is the same bench where my father sat, and I gave him something to drink. And after 30 years, it is me over here. Now, when the son heard that, immediately he made the father sit in the car, took a U-turn, took him back home. But the point I'm trying to say is that old age is something which is painful, and it's something that you would typically want to avoid, but you cannot really avoid. It's inevitable. It comes to one and all. Then the next is disease. Again, no one wants it, but it's common to all. Any of you all have never fallen ill? Is it there? Never fallen ill? Everyone falls ill, right? At some point or the other. Today, you have youngsters dying of heart attacks also. Recently, I just heard a 25-year-old got a heart attack. I was shocked. After Corona, I had heard 40-year-olds getting heart attacks, but 25-year-old got. But that's happening. Forget that. Children in school are complaining of back pains. So, and that's the reason the pharma industry is booming. Because diseases are there. They're there for all. You want it or no, it is going to come. So diseases. And then finally, death. Death is finally what actually takes us away. But you know what death is? And why death is painful also? You have so many things over here, your family, your house, your body, all of these things you're very attached to. You love all of them. And imagine, what is death? Within 1 second, everything is taken away. Means the next second, none of that belongs to you. How painful will it be? Now, when I get a little bruise and I put a band-aid, when I suddenly remove the band-aid, that itself gives me a pinch. It hurts me. Now, imagine if everything is just pulled away like this from me in that one moment, how painful it is. So death is very, very painful. We don't want it, but we can't avoid it. So these are the four. We've given an acronym: body. B is for birth, O is for old age, D is for disease, and Y is for Yamaraj or death. In addition to this, there are three more problems that we don't want, but they are common to all and we can't avoid them. Any guesses? Anyone? Okay, no problem. We'll take them one by one. So the first is problems given by the mind. It's called Adi Atmik Klesh. Now, this mind of ours is a troublemaker. It's like a monkey. It just keeps jumping. It keeps bothering us. It keeps chattering. You all would have experienced it. Like, it constantly harrows us. Even a small thing, it'll make very big. And that's the reason. And something which happened very many years ago, it'll bother us for that also. So the nature of the mind is to magnify problems and minimize all that we have. I'll give you another thing that comes to my mind. A marriage counselor once told me that a couple who were recently married, they came to him seeking divorce. Now, the counselor asked them, obviously, what is the problem? And they said, we have so many lifestyle differences, we just can't live together. And the counselor said, tell me, what are you talking about? And you won't believe what the counselor said, the lady said. The lady said, this husband of mine doesn't have bathroom manners. He squeezes the toothpaste from the front and he leaves the cap, he doesn't put on the cap back. So imagine the toothpaste being squeezed from the front bothered her mind so much that she's actually seeking a divorce. Can you beat that? So this mind, in fact, the WHO, World Health Organization, has said that in the 21st century, mind is what will trouble. Mind is the one which will cause problems, and people will suffer more of mental diseases than physical. Mental diseases are the ones that are really going to trouble people. Yes, Sarah, you've raised your hand. Go ahead. What's the question?
Sir, there's another problem, like the mental health. Like there are lots of mental health
That's exactly what I'm talking about, my dear. Correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. The mind creates these mental health issues. That's exactly what I'm saying. And more increasing, you'll see the various issues that you're seeing related to mental health today. Okay, for example, when I was in school, we never had any counselors in school. But today, schools have counselors for 4th, 5th, 6th graders. Really? So that means there is a serious issue, right? And that's the reason people feel the need to address that issue. So it's great to have them. But the point is, at a very young age itself, people are feeling that the mind is troubling them. So this is called Adhyatmic Klesh. The next one is problems caused by other living entities. You'll always have somebody, right? It could be your neighbor. It could be another friend. It could be some relative. It could be someone or the other, but there will definitely be someone who troubles you. And if there is nobody else, there will at least be one mosquito, who'll bite and give us malaria, and it's a problem. So other living entity will create issues in our life, like it or not. I came across this man once. He was elderly to me, a senior in my school. And I met him once at a social function. And we just happened to chat, and he was telling me, you know what, I'm a CEO of this company, and I have my wife who's working here, and I'm staying here in a plush apartment and all. He was telling me. And he went on and on. My kids have gone abroad, they're studying in Stanford, and so on and so forth. So basically, he was saying how happy he is. And suddenly he said, but. And when he said, but, I realized, abhi to kuch gadbad bolne wala hai. And then he said, but my mother-in-law is such a pain for me. And I said, oh my God. And then he went on to say, she stays with us and she's really, really creating problems for me. So there is always that someone who will create problems for you. So this is known as Adi Bhautik. The Shastra described them as Adi Bhautik. And the third is Adi Devik, problems caused by nature. And we're seeing it all around us. Today, look at the world scenario. In India, we've had so many floods. In Japan, recently, a typhoon, hit Japan. China had so many floods, and somewhere else in some island, there's a forest fire. So basically, nature gives problem, you like it or not. Now, obviously, when we are unfair to nature, we get it back also. But again, this is a problem that nobody may want, but you can't avoid it. So Bhagavad Gita describes these real 7 problems. These are the real 7 problems of life. And this is something that we need to find solutions to. So first section we discussed last time, relative and real problems we discussed just now. Okay. Now let us try and understand that despite these problems, relative, real, relative problems have relative solutions, but real problems need to have real solutions. So how do we really find real happiness? How can we find that, real happiness? Now, to understand this, I'll again tell you another story. So there was once this boy, right? He had a boil on his right shoulder. And he went to the doctor. The doctor told him, okay, this is a cream, ointment, go apply that ointment and it'll be fine. So he went back, he applied that ointment. And in a week's time, the boil disappeared. He was happy. But 10-15 days later, another boil popped up somewhere else. He went back to the doctor. He said, no, just apply that cream. So he applied it again. But then a month later, another boil came up. So he went to the doctor and he said, look, doc, I want a permanent solution. Like, I don't want this boils keep coming up again and again. So the doctor said, Arey Baba, what difference? You have this ointment. Whenever it comes, you apply. He said, no. I want a permanent solution. So he thought, this doctor doesn't know. Let me go to another doctor. So he went to another doctor who examined him. And after that, he told him, your blood is impure. It needs to get purified. And then he gave him a blood purifier. And he took it for a couple of months. It took some time. He took it for a couple of months. And then finally, he found the boils not coming back again and again. Now, the reason I'm telling you the story is, again, to explain to you that the problems that come, we have two ways of dealing with them. One is a way of finding temporary happiness. Okay, like I gave you this example. Temporary happiness is this ointment. And the other is a permanent one, cleaning the blood. Right? Similarly, for us, also, we'll have some temporary solutions for happiness. But are we okay with that? Or do we want a permanent solution? That is what we are discussing. Because ultimately, we want to be permanently happy. How many of you all want permanent happiness? Or you all are happy with temporary happiness? How many want permanent happiness? Chinmay wants. Who else wants? Others are happy with temporary happiness? Okay, finally I see Radhika's hand, Sarik's hand, Janisha's hand going up. Okay, thank you very much. So yes, that is what we're essentially looking at, permanent happiness. So painkillers give us temporary relief. Medicine actually cures that problem, okay? Because it goes to the root of the problem. Whereas painkillers are temporary, right? So similarly in our life, we sometimes need both, depending on the problem. Now, the advantage of painkillers is that they are quick. You find them anywhere. Instant relief, you get them. They are easily available everywhere. But the disadvantages are that they have side effects. They're not permanent. And sometimes they can make the disease worse, right? This is the disadvantage of having painkillers. Now, why I'm telling you about painkillers? Because these are the kind of painkillers we get even in our lives to find temporary happiness, okay? Now, these are the three kind of painkillers that the world gives us today for our problems. You have any problems? First painkiller that the world will give is scientific advancement in sense gratification. What it means, I'll tell you. Second is speculation, mental tricks. And the third is superficial religious activities. These are the three temporary painkillers or solutions that the world today gives us. Now, let's take them one by one. Okay. Now, what is scientific advancement for sense gratification? Basically, it means forget it. That is what the world is trying to tell us. Have you ever seen an ostrich? Ostrich, whenever it is faced with a problem, you know what it does? It will put its head in the ground. Why? Forget it. I don't want to think about the problem. That is what even we'll end up doing. You know, when we get in for artificial things for relief. Problem hai, chodo yaar, Insta pe dekho, let's just scroll some new gadget, which is the latest iPhone. Or let's go for a movie. Friends are there, chalo, yeah, let's go for a nice movie. This is great, that is great. After the 3 hours, what will happen? Indulge in food. Let's go for a nice buffet meal, right? The best of the taste buds, tintillate them. You don't have friends? Open a Facebook account, start posting, and you'll have 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 friends. You'll feel good. You'll feel you're wanted. Now, this is a true incident that I can share with you all. There was once this guy, very active, acquaintance, and at a very young age, so he was very active on social media. He had, I think, 2,000 plus friends on Facebook. At a very young age, he got a heart attack and he died. And at his funeral, there were only 2 people who had come, 2 friends. 2,000 on Facebook, 2 actually attended the funeral. So it's a temporary feeling. People today, if you don't understand anything, if you have a problem, forget it, yaar. Do drink piyo, chhod do, forget about the problem. Does that work? It may put you in that, no zone for those 2 hours or 3 hours. Then next day you get up with a hangover. Worse, some people get into addiction, thinking that we will be away from our problems, but it doesn't work. So real problems need real solutions. Temporary problems need temporary solutions. All right. All this sense gratification, earlier it may look interesting, but later it gives you problem. Like this idiot box or the television, when it was made, it was loved by everybody. But today, after 20, 30 years, the televisions have become slimmer and flatter, and people are becoming just couch potatoes, right? So all this advancement, like cell phones is the breakthrough, you can say, discovery of this century, where everybody is on phones today. It's great. It's good. Why? Because you're always available. It helps you in your work. You're always connected. It eases up things. But your privacy is gone. Today, you have bosses calling up even on Sundays, right? What do you do? And excessive use of this device has actually led to health issues. You have so many problems today. It could be headaches. It could be poor eyesight, memory loss. People don't have such good memory today because of always being near the phone, right? And this is what creates stress. So these luxuries come at a cost. All of these things come at a cost. Now, for example, health also, right? It cures your disease, but there are side effects for all the medicines that we have. It doesn't work always that, we always wanted to have the best of roads, best of cars, all of that. Great. But what is happening is that these very roads today are congested. And what is happening because of that? You're breathing in carbon monoxide. So staying in a city like Mumbai today, I'm a non-smoker, but I land up really smoking a couple of cigarettes in a day. Why? Because when I'm on the road, I'm inhaling carbon monoxide is as good as, taking cigarettes. So I've become a passive smoker thanks to the carbon monoxide from all these cars. So there is advantage, but there is a lot of disadvantage. The advantage is temporary. For that point of time, you feel great. You feel, mera problem solve ho gaya. But in reality, it's not a permanent solution. In reality, it's a patchwork solution, right? People think you're out of a problem, you solve the problem, but no, it's not. Sooner or later, it's going to give you further problem. So whether it's, the luxury cars, whether it's all your fancy jets, our ozone layer is depleting today, whether it's luxury of air conditioning, but all of that is leading to overall problem. Now, the second temporary solution that the world gives us is speculation. Now, what do I mean by speculation? It's called mental tricks. Now, what are the kind of mental tricks that are available today? Let's take them one by one. One, positive thinking. Such a commonly used word today. Think positive. Everything will be all right. Arey Baba, agar flood hai, even if I think positive, the flood is not going to go away, right? So positive thinking is great. it can boost in your mood, but it's not a real solution. Not for the real problems of life. Can it get you out of a flood? No. Temporary, yes, your mood is down, someone comes and gives you a nice pep talk, great. But it's not a permanent solution. Second, self-help books. Such a common, they're selling by the millions today. What? You Can Win and How to Win Friends and Influence People. These are the ones which are like the best sellers, right? Again, great. You must read them, but not for the real problems of life. For the temporary problems, they are great. Then laughter therapy. Again, a very common thing. You're stressed, just go for a nice show. You know, there are parks where all these laughter clubs are there. The fact is, again, a temporary solution. Okay, Charlie Chaplin, you all have heard of him? Right? He was like the father of Hollywood comedy. But do you know, he suffered acute depression towards the latter part of his life. Charlie Chaplin, he himself, literally the king of comedy, suffered acute depression. That is the way it is. And some say that he even died of that. Then the next thing is forums. There are various forums that are made today. The forums can be for, and forums are good to a certain extent. Like there are forums for getting people de-addicted for alcohol and all. All that is great. So those kind of forums are nice. But again, they cannot help you for your permanent problems, right? Not your real problems. Again, temporary solution. So they are good for certain things. And then yoga. Yoga is great. Should be done. It's a industry which is worth billions today. But again, what we need is inner yoga. What we need is working inward rather than the external than just the body. It cannot give you, it can solve some problems of the physical body, but not your real problems of life. Okay. And then the third thing that the world gives us. Okay. So one we discussed is, what was the first one? Sense gratification. Second are all these mental tricks that the world is giving us, all the mental options that they're giving us. Okay. And then second is all of these options that I gave you. And the third is all these rituals that are given as an option. Now, what are these superficial rituals? Now, these rituals again are something where, say somebody is not having a child. Are ye puja karo, ye karo, wo hoega. Somebody is some other problem, Sometimes they have, you want to score well, do this particular thing. So you want to enter a new house, do this particular thing. So all of that is there. But then again, all of this is for a specific relative problem, not for real problems. Okay. Now moving a little further. See, we all are currently in a rat race, right? You like it or not, you look around you, everyone is running. Why? I want to win. I want to reach my goal. I want to be happy. I want this. I want that. So we're all essentially running, but we're running without a direction many a times. So speed is great, but if it's directionless, it's worthless. So unless you know what your ultimate goal is, what is the use of speed? Tell me. If I want to go to Delhi, right? And if I'm going at great speed, but I've taken the wrong direction, will I ever reach Delhi? So if my goal is permanent happiness, then if I run behind all these temporary things, how is it going to help me? It's not. So direction is very, very important. Okay. Now, third aspect, how to achieve real happiness we discussed. All of these temporary things will not work. We need a permanent solution. Now let's see and understand what is this permanent solution. Okay. Let's start with a story. For you to get an idea of what the solution could be and what the real problem is also. Are you all with me so far? Are you all with me? Or any questions or any doubts so far? Please raise your hand and go ahead. All good? I can only see Radhika and Chinmay, so I don't know about the others. So I'm assuming, I hope your camera off doesn't mean that you all are sleeping or you all are on some other device. I'm hoping that you all are hearing, Okay, so let's start with the story. For a permanent solution. Yes, Sarang, go ahead. Ask. You've raised your hand.
Yes, Prabhuji, my question is, like you said about the temporary solution, it gives relief for like only a
Sometime,
few
yeah.
hour or some time for only some time, but we can use the any temporary solution to create a permanent solution.
These temporary solutions cannot be used to create a permanent solution. These temporary solutions can be used for your temporary or relative problems. Definitely they can. But what is the permanent solution and what is our permanent problem? Birth, old age, disease, death, adi atmik, adi bhautik, adi devik. For that, none of these can be used. Think about it, no? Whatever options I gave you as a solution, can it solve the problem of birth, death, old age, disease? Cannot. Right? That is the reason. Let's understand permanent solution. Are we okay on that, Sarang? Now you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. So we'll start with the story. So once there was this very rich man, and he had one son, and he took him for an event, a very big event. Now, unfortunately, at that event, there was some untoward incident, and there was a fire, and there was a lot of loss, and thereby there was a stampede. Suddenly, this man and his son got separated. Now, the father is looking for the son is looking for the father. No, but the son is a young child, right? He's a small kid. Now he's crying. He's in problem. He's crying. Now, when he's crying, there was a passerby who comes to him and he says, "Oh my God, he's crying." So he gives him chocolates, pizzas, gives him a video game, play with it, smile, be happy. And the boy, for those 15, 20, 30 minutes, is very excited. He's eating, he's playing the game. But after some time, again he starts to cry. Now, then another man sees him and he comes to him and he tells him, "Oh boy, why are you crying? Your father, Arey, Baba, you'll find him. Don't worry. Always think positive. Be optimistic. You shouldn't be crying. Smile. Get positive energy. Keep smiling." Gave him all that pep talk. Again, that boy was good for some time. He was like, okay, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. He was again happy. But then suddenly, again it hit him. Again he started to cry. Now then a third man who was passing by, he told him, "Kya ho gaya? Oh, you lost your father. Arey, wear this taviz. I'll do a puja for you. I'll do this special yagya." And then that boy again was relieved for some time thinking. But after some time, again he started to cry. Now then a fourth man came across and he spoke to the child. He said, "What is the problem?" He says, "I'm lost. I've lost my father." And then that boy holds his hand, takes him around and starts searching for his father, searching for his father. And after a lot of effort, finally he finds his father. And when he's united with his father, that's when he really becomes permanently happy. Now, this story, the reason for sharing the story is that we're all like that little boy who's lost from our eternal Father, God. And we can really, really be happy only when we reunite with Him. Till then, we're going to be temporarily happy. Like, these are the temporary solutions. The first man, what he told him? Eat well, play a game, sense gratification. The second one, what he told him? Pep talk, mental speculation. The third one, what did he tell him? Do some superficial religious rituals. But the real solution is reuniting with our Father. Similarly, all of us, our spirit souls, we're not this physical body. The Bhagavad Gita explains. We reside in this body, we're spirit souls. And that spirit will only be permanently happy when it is connected with the Supreme Father, because we're all parts and parcels of that Lord. This material body, and in fact, everything, just look around you. Whatever you see is material. By material, what do I mean? It has a life. It's not permanent. Nothing around you, just look around. Nothing is permanent. But we, the soul inside, is permanent. And we will get eternal happiness only when we connect. So essentially, what is happening? We are all finding happiness, but we're not getting permanent happiness here. Why? Because we're looking for it in the wrong place. Like this man who's looking for a precious thing in the dustbin. Will he really find it? No. That's exactly the case with all of us. Now, I'll tell you one more story. To understand this concept of permanent happiness, there was once this king, and he was celebrating his anniversary, and he gave his wife a beautiful necklace. And obviously, the wife was overjoyed. She was really happy, and she was adoring herself. And then she came out in the balcony, and then she just removed the necklace, and she was holding it in her hand and adoring it, and how beautiful it was. Suddenly, a big eagle came and took the necklace from her hand, thinking it's some food. And then the queen was wailing away. And the king came and he said, "What happened?" And he said, "You know that beautiful necklace you gave me? It's been taken away by that eagle." And the king was like, "It's okay, Baba, I'll get you another one." And she was like, "No, that is my anniversary gift. I want that necklace only." And the king was like, "Oh my God, what do I do now?" She's saying, "No, I want that necklace only. You want to do something for me? Ensure I get that necklace." Oh my God. And the king said, "Fine. Not much choice, when that's what your wife wants." So he went and he made an announcement. He said, in the kingdom, there was this announcement: anyone who finds this necklace will be given 1,000 gold coins, which is way more than the necklace's value. And he made this huge announcement that I want this necklace back. So everyone was trying to search for it. And coincidentally, this young boy once, he was passing through a forest. And he noticed, he knew about this prized announcement. And he came across this little pond, and he saw something shimmering. And when he went closer, he was surprised. He saw that's the necklace that he was looking for, the queen's necklace. And he was overjoyed. He said, "Arey Baba, life ban gaya." And he jumped in to get the necklace out. But then when he jumped in, he couldn't find that necklace. He came out and he started wondering, "Kidhar gaya?" Then he saw it again. Okay, there it is. He jumped in again. Again, when he went to pick it up, he couldn't find it. Came out, again he saw it, again he jumped in. Again, he couldn't find it. So this jumping in process was continuing. And there was this sage who was sitting close by, and he saw this man. He said, came up, "What are you doing, man? What is that you're looking for? I mean, I see you very perplexed." And this man was like, "Oh my God, I can't tell the sage, He said, "No, no, nothing. Don't worry. You go, you do your meditation. I'm here." He said, "Look, I'm a renowned sage. You have nothing to lose by telling me if something is bothering you. I may be able to help you." And then very reluctantly, he told him, that, "See, that necklace now is the queen's necklace. And I want it. I'll get a big prize." And the sage looked at it and he just smiled. And he said, "You want that necklace?" He said, "Yeah, Baba, I want that necklace. I'm not getting it only. Whenever I jump, I'm not getting it." And then the sage told him, "Don't look down. Look up." And he showed him the branch where the necklace was hanging. So what he was seeing was actually just the reflection of that necklace. So he was wanting to catch the necklace, but that was an illusion, because the real necklace is where? Up on the tree. Now, why did I tell you this story? Because we are all like that little boy. We want permanent happiness. and we're searching for it over here. But this place is illusionary from a permanent happiness point of view, and permanent happiness lies somewhere else, like the necklace was lying on the branch of a tree. Now, coming a little further and dwelling a little deeper, I'll tell you one more story. So there was once this little boy, and he was at a beach. Again, he saw this man selling balloons, colorful balloons, red, blue, green, yellow, orange, beautiful balloons, And he was just standing, a little boy, so he was very intrigued. Arey, red balloon is flying, then the green balloon is flying, the yellow balloon is flying. And he was like, wow. So then he came up to this little balloon seller and he told him, will this orange balloon also fly? The man said, yes. He said, will this purple balloon also fly? He said, yes. Will this black balloon also fly? He said, yes. And then the balloon seller understood. He told him, my child, what is making the balloon fly is not the color. It is the helium which is inside the balloon that is making it fly. Then the boy understood that it is not the color of the balloon, but it is what lies inside it. Again, the reason for telling the story is that happiness is again not which lies outside, it is what lies within us. So we're looking for happiness, permanent happiness, but we're looking for it where? Outside. But it lies within. Point number one. We're looking for permanent happiness, but we're looking at it for it in this material world, which is temporary and which from a permanent happiness point of view is also illusionary. Because permanent happiness is not available here, like that necklace was not available here. It was available on that tree. Now, to explain to you how this world is where we resided, let me ask you some things. How many of you are good in Hindi over here? Who speak good Hindi, understand good Hindi? How many of you all? Nobody? Then the question I'm going to ask you all may not know. Like, what is this place where everybody goes and eats, known as in Hindi? In Hindi, what is this place where everyone goes to eat called?
Bhodnachalay.
Sorry?
Bhodnachalay.
No. It's known as Bhojanalaya. Okay. Now, what is a place where someone goes to study?
Vidyalay.
Hindi.
Very good. Now you all are getting it. Vidyalaya. Nice. What about a place where you find books?
Grandalaya.
Pustakalay.
Pustakalaya or Granthalaya. Yes, Pustakalaya. Okay. Now, this world, you know what Krishna calls this world in the Bhagavad Gita? Any guesses? He calls it Dukkhalaya. Now, what did we get in this place? Pustakalaya, what did we get?
Books.
Books. What did we get in Vidyalaya?
Knowledge.
Knowledge of Vidya.
Knowledge.
Knowledge of Vidya. What did we get in Bhojanalaya?
Food.
Food or Bhojan. So by that logic, what will you get in Dukkhalaya?
Dukkha. Bada.
Dukkha. So Krishna is saying that this place has Dukkha inbuilt hai baba usme. You can't do anything about it. It's inbuilt. And he calls it Dukkhalaya Ashashvatam. That means you have misery over here, but it's temporary. Because nothing in this world is permanent. As I was telling you, everything around us is matter and everything is temporary. Just look around. Everything around you is temporary. So we're looking for permanent happiness in a temporary world, in a Dukkhalaya. Is it really possible? Acha, anyway, chalo. अगर ये दुखालय है तो किधर तो सुखालय होना चाहिए ना, right? If there's a dukhalaya, there has to be a sukhalaya. So next time we will try and find out where is this sukhalaya. And the father that we spoke about, that we are all lost children, and our supreme father, that is God, does he exist? If he exists, where does he exist? So next time we will move a little further in our quest for happiness by understanding where is this real happiness available, and that supreme father of us, where and how does he exist? All right. So we have 5 minutes for question and answers. If you have any doubts, any questions, any clarifications, please feel free. Yes. Nothing, everything is clear. Simple tha kya? Clear? Happiness, permanent, relative, problems, permanent, temporary, stopgap solutions, and permanent solutions. So we don't want painkillers. We want medicine. Sometimes using painkillers is fine, but ultimately we need to get to the root of that, and which we will look at next time. And then we will move further in our quest for happiness and move further in our journey inward, which will ultimately show us the path to real happiness. All right. So if there are no questions, we will end our session here. Ishita, did you join in late or did you join in earlier? I think she joined in late. Okay. Anyway, we will be sharing a recording. So in case, anybody's missed it or some things are unclear. So we meet next week, same time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.